Number 10. Justin Murdock. In California on October 29, 2021, the heir to the Dole food fortune, Justin Murdock, attended a Halloween party with 24-year-old Talia Skye, his gorgeous young model girlfriend. The 49-year-old billionaire was arrested later that night after allegedly giving Talia a black eye. Skye had texted a friend earlier on in the party asking for a ride home from Justin's mansion in LA after she and her wealthy boyfriend had gotten into a heated argument. She told her friend that she was scared that Justin might hurt her after asking to leave the event early. By the time her friend arrived to pick Talia up, she was apparently laying down on the driveway, sobbing uncontrollably. Her face was battered and her eye had swollen up to twice its size with purple and blue bruises. When confronted over his lover's concerning state, Justin claimed that he had nothing to do with it and that Talia was drunk, crazy, and had most likely hurt herself. Justin had a complicated history when it came to women. He's dated celebrities and models in the past like Jamie Lynn Sigler and Ashley Shelton, with some saying he'd made inappropriate comments and others going as far as claiming sexual harassment. His claims of innocence were supported by some of his friends that came to the party after Talia had asked to leave. They said that she had seemed upset but didn't have any marks on her. It's unclear whether she lied about the assault or not, as information on the case is slowly being released to the public. Number 9. Thomas Gilbert Jr. In 2015, a spoiled rich kid killed his own father in cold blood after having his allowance cut. Thomas Gilbert Jr.'s father worked for a hedge fund and had the kind of money most people only dream of. Despite working for what he earned, his son didn't grow up to have that kind of mentality. One night, Thomas visited his parents' Manhattan home in January unannounced. When he got there, he immediately asked his mom Shelley to make him a sandwich. After she left, Thomas confronted his dad about cutting his allowance by $200. He was still getting money, over $2,000 a month, just not as much as he wanted. When the 30-year-old surfer didn't get the answer that he wanted, things took a turn for the worse. Shelley came back into the room to see her husband lying dead on the floor with a gunshot wound to his head. Thomas had set the scene up to look like a suicide, but no one had bought it. She quickly called the police saying, quote, "My husband's been shot by my son." After his arrest, Thomas nonchalantly ate pizza and fast food, telling cops about his exercise routines and diets. Despite pleading not guilty in court, he was sentenced to 30 years to life for the murder of his father. Maybe now he'll finally realize you can't just expect to get everything you want in life. Number 8. Tech billionaire. Henry T. Nicholas III founded a company called Broadcom that specializes in semiconductors and software. In 2018, the billionaire was arrested in Las Vegas after suitcases full of illegal drugs were found in his room. Henry was arrested on multiple trafficking and possession charges, having meth, weed, heroin, and more. When authorities got to the room, they discovered Ashley passed out after supposedly inhaling nitrous oxide through a balloon. The couple claimed that the suitcases containing the substances weren't theirs, but video footage from hotel surveillance cameras showed them carrying the bags, proving them wrong. Henry and Fargo took a plea deal in order to steer clear of hard jail time. Instead, the two will undergo counseling and make $500,000 donations to local substance treatment centers. They will also have to complete 250 hours of community service for their crimes. After leaving his company, Henry has since focused on a public life dedicated to philanthropy. He hopes that he'll be remembered for the good he's done, like passing Marsy's Law, a victims' rights bill, instead of his legal complications. Number 7. Crypto kidnapping. The rise of cryptocurrency in recent years has allowed many new millionaires to rise up through the world. However, one established Norwegian billionaire named Tom Hagen had a brush with the law back in 2018 for a scandal involving crypto and his wife. On Halloween of that year, Hagen called the police and said that he found a cryptic ransom letter in his home asking for $10 million worth of cryptocurrency. Police came to Hagen's secluded home to investigate the possible kidnapping situation, but discovered no obvious signs of forced entry on the property. They did, however, find plenty of evidence in the older couple's bedroom that suggested a struggle had happened. Initially, authorities dismissed this as the place Anne was captured. Further investigation revealed that Mr. Hagen may have faked the ransom situation entirely. Some believe he even killed his own wife. On April 28, 2020, police arrested the billionaire as a suspect, but released him shortly after for lacking evidence. As of this year, Hagen is still a prime suspect, but no official charges have been set against him as the case continues. Number 6. Cameron Douglas. The son of a celebrity turned to a life of crime in Manhattan after being cut off financially by his father. Cameron Douglas, son of award-winning actor Michael Douglas, was haunted by the pressure of his family's long-standing legacy and turned towards drugs for comfort. Cameron watched as his father had an affair and remarried, while other family members constantly turned to nightlife and parties. He says seeing this play out from such a young age had a lasting negative effect on him. Drug addiction and using substances like liquid cocaine led Cameron to an angry, miserable life. His father tried to help him, going as far as hiring people to kidnap his son and take him to rehab, but that eventually was called off thanks to Cameron's aggressiveness. His behavior and attitude eventually led him down a dangerous road. After being cut off from his family's wealth, Cameron sought money from different sources. He started robbing people, in some cases at gunpoint, anything to fuel his addiction and escape his reality. However, crimes like this turned into a prison sentence, and in April 2010, he was given 5 years in prison for heroin possession and dealing. Thankfully, during his time, Cameron turned his life around, was released for good behavior, and is now pursuing an acting career like his father and grandfather. He's dedicated to spending time with his newborn son and 3-year-old daughter as he continues to navigate a healthy lifestyle. Do you think Cameron's life of crime is truly behind him? Let us know in the comments below, and if you like the video so far, be sure to subscribe. Number 5. Harold Landry. In February 2010, 38-year-old Lucy Landry's dead body was found in her neighbor's garden. Harold Landry, her husband, had stabbed her over 20 times before leaving her remains near a bush in Pershore, Worcestershire. As a wealthy crane designer, Harold initially claimed to be innocent, but it only took a little pushing for the 65-year-old to own up to his crimes. He said Lucy had threatened him with a knife, but this still doesn't explain why he stabbed her so many times. While in custody, he said that he had done everything imaginable for over 10 years to take care of his wife. He spoiled her with lavish gifts like diamond rings, a house, and more, but things eventually soured between the two. The couple, who had met online, were in a rough spot in their marriage. Both Harold and Lucy had started seeing other people, and Harold even done everything he could to make sure his wife wouldn't get money out of a divorce. In the past, Harold had been accused of shooting the man married to a woman he was seeing at the time, so violence isn't out of the question for him. After trial, Harold was found guilty of murdering his wife and was given a life sentence in prison for his cruelty. Number 4. Accusations. In March 2019, a wealthy teenager named Joshua Molnar was accused of stabbing and killing his friend Yusuf Maki in Cheshire, England. The 17-year-old was cleared of the crime later on in court, but not before sparking viral outrage against him. The young boys had met at Manchester Grammar School, an elite private school that cost nearly 12,000 British pounds or $13,500 American dollars a year to attend. Yusuf had won a scholarship for the school and became friends with Molnar while attending. Despite being cleared of the crime, Molnar was responsible for ending his friend's life. On March 29th, after a drug deal apparently went sideways, Molnar stabbed Yusuf in the heart. He claimed self-defense in court, though, and was found not guilty of the murder. Molnar also lied to the police after the initial incident, saying that some, quote, black guys were involved in the killing. These remarks sparked outrage online, with many upset by this unnecessary, racially targeted comment looking to place blame on people who weren't involved. Even if he didn't go to jail for murder, the young man did have to serve out a 16-month detention order for lying to authorities and having a knife in public. Number 3. Bite the hand that feeds you. Back in 2014, the son of wealthy real estate and tech mogul Ashton Sachs took an 18-hour road trip from his college in Seattle to his parents' home in Orange County, California. On February 9th, early in the morning, he entered their $1 million property holding a loaded rifle. Once inside, he went to his parents' bedroom and sprayed them with bullets as they slept. After this, he also fired on his 2 younger siblings in the home, his 8-year-old brother and his 17-year-old sister. Ashton's brother Landon was left paralyzed from the injuries. Right after his crimes, Ashton jumped on a plane and went straight back to Seattle. He then came back to attend his mom and dad's funeral the following week. While there, he delivered a tearful eulogy, saying that he had a rocky relationship with his parents, but still loved them very much. Eventually, evidence pointed authorities to Ashton as the primary suspect. When asked why he carried out the murders, he said that his parents were the reason he had depression and that he knew he was the least favorite child in the family. For 2 counts of murder and 2 attempted murders, Ashton Sachs will spend the rest of his life behind bars. Number 2. Barbecue brawl. In the South African country of Namibia, a barbecue went wrong after a drunken proposal. Harvey Bolter, a millionaire from the UK, shot and killed his employee Gerhard van Wyck. Wyck was in charge of taking care of Bolter's $1 million property in the country and has lived there with his family for 8 years. During this time, he developed a friendly and personal relationship with his boss. They were so close that Bolter was even building Wyck his own home. While at the barbecue, things apparently went south when the millionaire said that Wyck's daughter-in-law should give him sexual favors in return for building the house for them. These remarks caused a fight to break out between the men. Bolter threatened his employee with a gun and, while wrestling to get the gun away from him in order to de-escalate the situation, Wyck was shot. He was rushed to the nearest hospital, which sadly was 100 miles or just about 160 kilometers away, and he died while en route to the hospital. Details on Bolter's sentencing have yet to be released. He made the $500,000 bail set for him and remains free until the court makes their decision. Even if he employed the man for 8 years, Bolter had no right to ask for inappropriate favors from his daughter in exchange for a home he offered to build. Number 1. Mafia Men. In February 2015, a millionaire businessman from China was put to death. He was found guilty as the head of a mafia-like gang full of killers and loan sharks. Before his arrest, 49-year-old Lu Han was worth almost $6.5 billion as the chairman of the Hanlang Group, and he wasn't scared to show off his wealth. Insiders report that he owned hundreds of expensive luxury vehicles and regularly bribed local officials to do his bidding. On top of his gang connections, Han was also tied to many illegal gambling facilities across the country. Years of crime made Han and his brother Lu Wei grow careless. In 2009, they got attention after sending out orders for 3 men, including a feuding gang boss, to be killed. This would be the last straw. After a crackdown on corruption by the Chinese president Xi Jinping, Han and his brother Lu Wei were arrested. As part of their punishment, they were stripped of political rights and told to give up all their financial assets. Officially, Han's charges included murder, selling firearms, and much more. Despite appealing for another opinion on the case, Han was ultimately found guilty and executed for his corrupt crimes. What would you do if you were a millionaire? Would you spoil your kids or make them learn the value of hard work? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on The Bad Badger.